Hello, welcome back. So today we're going to be starting a series where I'm going over the winners of the Balance Patch update that happened 2 weeks ago. So in this video, we're going to start with Rust Dust. She got a really nice buff, so you won't see it in the tooltip, which is why I think not everyone knows about it, which is kind of crazy. You need to use her. So I'll show you in a second, but basically her ability range got extended so she can send her ability further. But then also the area effect of the ability got way bigger. It's, if you can imagine Volcanicus is a 4-star meteor ability, it's roughly that size. Um, and she does really good damage. So you can see she does 8,000 damage when maxed. If you throw her G1 core on, that gets her up to about, I think, to 9.1. Yeah, so 9,251. And then, so in case you didn't know, ranks do boost the ability damage, but the new updated ability damage isn't shown in the tooltip. So I have her at major, which means it's 9,251 times 1.2 for 20%. So that gives us a roughly 11.1 thousand. And then if you get, I wouldn't recommend doing this because she's probably gonna get tuned down a little bit, so I'd wait to see what they do with her. But at general, she would get above the 11.5k mark, which is kind of the magic number for primary card mode. That allows bots to take out almost every building. Um, Cannons, laser turrets, mortars, beam lasers, and missile launchers. And obviously build bots and spider mines and all that. But just not the higher ones like the shock towers, MDS, and shield gen. So yeah, so 11.5k is roughly the magic number, and then there's easy war effects right now, so it's a little bit lower. So major does just fine. Um, and then for the combat, it's really user's choice. I tend to recommend either Nightstick, Top Shot, or Cosmic Rust Blaster. I like to stick Nightstick with Prima, and then so I like to use Top Shot personally, but like any of those three could work just fine. Just up to the rest of your team, I guess. And also, she's a fire bot. Now she deals fire DPS. I think it kind of makes sense. So her health is a little bit low. You can see her base stats there. Damage is pretty good for range special. Actually, yeah, it's about average. A little higher than average, I'd say. So yeah, let's jump into a battle. Alright, so this is a pretty popular layout. You're seeing a little bit less and less just because the top metal user uses space and everyone copied him, and then now he's using something else, so now they're all copying something else. But she works really well against front-loaded bases in particular. She works well against any base, to be honest, but I think she just excels against front-loaded bases because buildings are a little more clustered. So I'll show you first. This is how I like to deal with these bases on my live account. I use Rook instead of Lightspeed, but Lightspeed works too. So see, if you go from the center, right, and then just gotta make sure to take out the fire build bots, which were these two. So she can't really reach that much. So when I use Leo, I'd use him to take out the left side and then the right side. Just gonna wait for Skyring to dive real quick. Alright, there we go. Don't need to worry about the shields now. So even now, when she's a little bit further up, this can work. see on one on the right, one on the left. So you can see the new radius. It's massive. It's covers like almost a fourth of the whole map. Um, maybe not that quite that much, but a large area, right? And then all that's left for you to deal with is the shield gen cluster. The only thing is, it is damage over time. So I mentioned, so we got the primary card effects, and she's one-shotting basically everything. But because she is damage over time, my Cronus can counteract her damage. Not completely, but enough to keep the buildings alive. So that's why Skids is pretty popular. He works very well with Rust Dust. They have pretty similar abilities, but he's acid, so that blocks the healing while also adding extra damage and amplifying Rust Dust damage by 20% from the acid combo. So that's one way. You can see it works. It works pretty well. But one, I just want to show how I like to use her on front-loaded bases. So we saw it worked okay when you go from the center. However, if you go from the corner, just remember you need to take out the build bots first. Otherwise, she does like no damage. So 1 and 2. And then if you go from the side instead of the center, it's a bit of a better area. So you use her in the front. So that's so much, like almost the entire base or half the base. Then yeah, you gotta pop the outposts. And then I would grab a combiner here, but you can see it takes us to a few steps forward. And I'm not taking this very seriously, but you can see the range. So just by herself, she can cover the entire base a little easier from if you go from the side. So that's what a max one looks like. Then we'll jump to my live account. This is what mine looks like. She's only level 61. She does 7,000 damage. I have her at Sergeant, so roughly 7,800 damage total. So I'll show you how to use her in zone 15 too, because she's 61 isn't high enough for primary card mode. However, she is super easy to level. Some bots, if you want to solo zone 15, you want to bring a combiner like Ruination or Volcanicus, that works. However, she's so good, she doesn't need a good combiner. So just to be proof of point, I'll bring Victorion, often regarded as the worst combiner. So I'm only going to drop her if I can't avoid the outposts, just as a relief. She doesn't need any help. And also, her G1, it not only boosts her ability damage, but it gives her some healing. It's not lifesteal, but it's when you destroy buildings, you get the health back a little bit. So that is the wrong bot. Okay, trying. So you can see she'll take out the entire front area by herself. One more use up there, take out the entire back left. Take a few steps forward. So this is why you bring a combiner. Doesn't need to be a good one, but just while the abilities are going off. That was Blades, so that's like a hack bomb. And then you can obviously use the combiner just to prove the point. I'm not going to. And then back right. And then the outposts. And then keep just spamming. She's super cheap. And yeah. So I didn't mean to drop Slug, that cheats a little bit, but you can see I took out the entire base in 3 uses. If you want to bring a bot, that would obviously help a lot too. But it's just so good. So yeah, that's Rust Dust. Like I said at the beginning, I'll be doing a whole series. I'll probably do 3 or 4 more of these. The one thing I will say is there is a chance that these bots could get nerfed a little bit. They won't be unusable. They won't get nerfed to the ground or anything. They'll definitely still be better than they were before the update. Like I don't think any of them will even get reverted back to their old state. They'll be better than before. But just maybe I mentioned that when you give her the major rank, she like goes up a level, and she can one shot cannons and anything with less health than that. I don't think Captain might be able to. But just be cautious. Don't immediately go and spend money to max her and give her ranks, because there is a chance she might get nerfed. But in the meantime, go crazy. She is so fun to use. She's so good. Probably too good. That's why I think she'll get tuned down a little bit. Yeah. So I'll be coming with more of these. So stay on the lookout for those. So if you're still here, thanks for watching. If you learned something, please leave a like. If you keep coming back, a sub would be appreciated. And I'll see you next time.